What's up everybody, Camro here, and welcome to part 55 of my How to Make a Pokemon Game tutorial series. In this episode, we are going to be looking at the Elite Four and credits. First, what we're going to do is make the Elite Four trainers, and then we're going to set them up in a way that we can battle them in a sequence, and it'll keep track of our progress. Then after that, we're going to make a champion battle event, and then from there, we're going to register our Pokemon in the Hall of Fame, and then watch the credits. With that said, let's get into it. So what I've done here is first and foremost made my own little Indigo Plateau map. I didn't actually go and map this, it would take a long time. I really just copied it from the base essentials maps. That one's called Ingido Plateau. So yeah, it's right here underneath the ice cave. Ingido Plateau, and then there's the Pokemon League like Pokemon Center outside of the Elite Four. And then there's the Pokemon League itself. This is their version. We make a much better and more expanded version of this. And then after that is the Hall of Fame. So in our example, what we've got here is the outside, which is the Indigo Plateau. We walk inside and it takes us here into this little like Pokemon League Pokemon Center. And then from here is a transfer that takes us into our Pokemon League. So what you'll see here is that there are multiple rooms, some of which have been mapped out, some of which still need to be mapped out. So we're going to work on that in a little bit because I don't want you to think that I've already done all of the work for this tutorial. I want to work it out with you so that way you can see my progress. And then I copied over the Hall of Fame. So the Hall of Fame is very simple and it's self-explanatory, and we'll get to that too. But first and foremost, let's take a look at how the start of our Elite Four event works. At the very start, it starts here at the transfer. So this event right here is what places us into our Elite Four map. And it does a couple things. First, it sets two variables equal to 0. These are some custom variables that I made and that I recommend that you make for this tutorial. This first one is called E4 Beaten, and this other one is called E4 Room. Essentially, E4 Beaten keeps track of the number of Elite Four members that you've beaten, and that we use that moving forward in our Elite Four events to keep track of our progress. And then E4 Room is the current room you're in. We use that as well when it comes to closing the doors behind us as we progress through the Elite Four. So at the very start, it sets both of those to 0. When you transfer into this, it's basically considering that to be a completely new Elite Four experience. Every time you take this transfer, it's resetting your progress. And then it places us here in our Pokemon League map that we've made, right up here in the top left corner. This is our first battle against Lorelei. And it places us right here. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly, Lorelei. Anyway, then what it does is it does the, like the fade out and then a fade in, and then it does a set move route for the player. This is very important. We want to set through on here and then move up 3 times and then through off. We set through on to make sure that we can walk through all of the walls here. Some of them actually do have collision, and I'll show you that in a little bit. And then after we complete our move, it plays the sound effect of a door closing. It's called door enter, but it's also a very good sound effect that plays for a door shutting. And then it sets E4 Room to be +1. So essentially, E4 Room is set to 0 at the start of the event, and then we set E4 Room, or basically we add 1 to the value of this variable, so then it goes up to 1. It's 0, and now it's 1. And there's really nothing else going on in this event. We don't need to worry about that. It's just this. All of this. Cool. So then what we should do now is look at the first room of our Elite Four event. What you'll see up here is there's a door that looks like it's open. However, this event is placed on top of it, so it's actually closed. This is doors 8 right here, this top right tile essentially, and by default it's closed. But on page 2, if the E4 beaten is 1 or above, then it'll actually transfer us and do all the door stuff. And the only way that we can increase the variable of E4 beaten is by beating an Elite Four member. So right here is our battle with Lorelei, where she just says, I'm an Elite Four member, battle me. Then she changes her battle background using this command, which is $PokemonGlobal.next battleback equals Elite B. There are multiple battlebacks that you can choose from in your graphics battlebacks folder. And I feel like Elite B probably looks the best for Lorelei. And then, like C could be for Bruno, A could be for, friggin', what's his name, Lance? Anyway, and then after that you battle her, and it does the conditional branch that we normally do for battles, which is PB trainer battle, and then her trainer type is Elite Four _ Lorelei, her name is Lorelei, her form is just 0, and then she says, well done, you can move on. and then it plays the sound effect of a door entering, and then it increases Elite Four beaten by 1. So the reason it plays that sound effect once again is because when this value is increased by 1, the value of Elite Four beaten will be equal to 1, meaning this door will now open, because if it's 1 or above, the door is open. So it'll be like cha-ching. And then, yeah, one other thing that I need to break down really quickly is this event right down here at the entrance is only active. It only has one event page, and it's only active if the variable E4 room is 1 or above. E4 room is by default 0 on our map transfer, and then it gets increased by 1 after our move route is finished. So I will play it for you, and we'll show off this little demo really quickly. Essentially what we're going to do is increment variables, 2 variables, throughout our progression in the Elite Four. So let's walk in and showcase what I'm talking about here. Sorry, I bumped my mic. I'm going to save right here. This is a good spot to save. And then we're going to walk into our transfer. So one thing you'll see is at the very start, both variables will be set to 0, and then the E4 room variable will be set to 1 very shortly after entering. So check this out. It's 0, boom, it's 1. Now I can't walk back down. There's collision here. So now I'm locked into this Elite Four battle. I'm gonna try to progress, but I can't. The door is locked. I have to beat Lorelei in order to progress. So I'm gonna hold control and do a Debug Victory right here, because it skips the battle when you're playing in debug mode. After she loses, she says, "It was a good battle indeed. Well done. You can move on to the next battle." And then, boom! They incremented our variable again. So right now, where we're currently standing, E4 beaten is equal to 1, and E4 room is equal to 1. However, when we go through this, it should increment it again, so E4 room is now set to 2. And then we're going to keep on doing that continuously for all of our Elite Four members. So now let's try making one of those events from scratch. So just to make it fully from scratch, what I'm going to do here is basically delete everything in this room, and then take a look at our previous events and transfer them over to work for our new event. So the very first and most important thing that we should be doing here is making a new Elite Four member. I'm gonna make Bruno, because this room has all the rocks and stuff. So Bruno is right here, trainer character 068, and he'll say, "I'm an Elite Four member, fight me." And then, instead of his battle background being Elite B, we can make it Elite C. There we go. So, since we actually haven't defined Bruno yet in our trainers.txt, what I want to do is go to trainers.txt and go underneath this Lorelei battle and define our own one for Bruno. So I'm actually just gonna copy this really quick and then tweak it. So instead of Elite Four underscore Lorelei, this will be Elite Four underscore Bruno. That is his trainer type. As you can see in our actual trainer types txt folder or file, that's Elite Four underscore Bruno. And if you're unsure where any of these are, just as a refresher, in your root folder, in the PBS folder, you scroll on down, there's trainers and trainer types. So we're going to primarily be editing trainers, but we'll be consulting trainer types along the way. Anyway, let's go back into our trainers.txt, and let's make Bruno. He'll just have one Pokemon right now. I don't want him to be too strong. I'm making them all pretty weak, even though I'm going to be skipping the battles mostly. So, one thing with the trained eye might be catching right now is I've defined 2 Lorelei's. There's Lorelei form 0, which is basically her default battle, and then there's another Lorelei, which is form 1, or this is her second form essentially, where she has 2 Pokemon. I'll get into that in a little bit, but if you've played the original games, you know that after you beat the Elite Four, they get harder when you fight them again. So what I want to do is also show you how we can set up rematches. So, while I'm here, I'm just going to copy this Bruno example, paste him down here, add a (1) after his name, so now we have 2 forms of Bruno. And then this one will have 2 Pokemon, and how about he leads with a Machamp this time? There we go. Oh, I needed to put a comma there. Perfect. So now Elite Four Bruno is a trainer that has an Onix, and then the second form of him has a Machamp and an Onix. There we go. So we still have copied over our Lorelei event. Let's take a look into it and break it down. So I talked about rematches. Check this out. Our Bruno event has 3 pages. On page 1, this is our default where we battle him. On page 2, this will be where we do the rematch. It's still using all the Lorelei stuff, so right now, I just want to delete that. We'll reset that up later. And then on page 3, this is if E4 beaten is 2 or above. Essentially, this is talking to them after you've beaten them. So let's look at Lorelei as an example here, and then we'll return to Bruno. So here she is. On her default page, she says, I'm elite 4 member, battle me, and then you battle her, and then it sets E4 beaten plus equal to 1. We actually don't use the control switch, so we can delete this. Check this out. Instead of using control switches, we're using variables here. We're being real sneaky. We go to page 2, we can delete this as well. On page 2, if defeated elite 4 is on, this is where you fight her second form, and you can tell what her form is by going to the very end of the conditional branch here and seeing this variable. If this value is set to 1, then we're fighting her second form. If this variable is set to 0, we're fighting their first form. So essentially there's form 0, form 1, form 2. 0 is the starting number. Anywho, so it increases E4 beaten plus 1. So now after you defeat her, the value of E4 beaten should be 1 because it starts at 0 and now it's at 1. And then if you talk to her again, she'll say, "Oh, you beat me, move on to the next round." Cool, so let's tweak our Bruno event to kind of match our Lorelei event. So what we've got here is Bruno. He says, I'm an elite 4 member, battle me. He sets that to elite C. Now, let's modify this conditional branch. So instead of type elite 4 Lorelei, we're gonna delete that to instead be Bruno. It is our boy Bruno. And then we'll modify this to be Bruno as well. If we wanted to, we could modify his text, but just keeping it as a good battle indeed is fine for now. Then after you beat him, he'll say, well done, you can move on. Delete that. And now he'll increase the value of E4 beaten by 1 again. So the value of E4 beaten, it was equal to 1, and now after you defeat him, the value should be equal to 2. So E4 beaten is 2, he says, you beat me. Cool. Now, let's copy this event page and paste it. So now we have our default battle, and then this will be our rematch battle. This is actually already tracked in a pre-existing switch. It's switch 12, defeated elite 4. If you've defeated the elite 4 before, then this switch will be set to true. And then it's going to be as easy as just modifying this value at the very end to 1. So now, when you fight him again, he'll be in his second form. And then instead of battle me, he could say like, rematch me. So that way you know that you're battling him for the second time. Cool. So after you defeat him, the value of E4 beaten will be equal to 2. So let's take a look at our door event from before. Copy it and just paste it over here. So by default, the door is closed. But on the second page, if E4 beaten is 2 or above, then when you step on this, it transfers you. So let's make it so that way it transfers us into the next room, which will be Agatha. Cool. And then what it does is it sets through to on, we move on up, all of that good stuff. And then it sets E4 room to be plus equal 1. So I haven't gone into the E4 room stuff yet, but what we can do is copy this and paste this, and let's take a look at it. So this is actually a graphic that is a huge graphic that takes up multiple tiles, and it looks like a door that's closed. It's in your folder for characters, and it's just called E4 wall. And this is a big ass tile. That's like a 2x6 or 3x, no, what is that? Yeah, I think that's 2x6. Anyway, it's huge. What we want to do is set this so that way if E4 room is 2 or above, then this door will appear. So I'm just going to break it down with my mouse cursor here. We enter the elite 4 with both of the values set to 0. And then we pass this threshold, and then ding, we get here, and E4 room is set to 1. When E4 room is set to 1, this appears and a sound is played. And then we can't go back. Then we battle Lorelei, and E4 beaten is set to 1. When E4 beaten is set to 1, this door opens and we can advance. And then doobly-doobly-doo, we go down here. Then we cross the threshold and we move up, and then ding, E4 room is set to 2. So now this door closes and plays the sound effect, and now we're stuck in this room. We battle Bruno, we beat him, and then our E4 beaten goes up to 2, and then this door opens, and so on and so forth. So then we advance even further into Agatha's room. And if that was unclear, I guess I can implement it again really quickly because it's super fast. Check this out. I am going to just copy both of these really quickly and then make a really quick Agatha. So, Elite Four. Agatha, if I could spell, and her name is Agatha, you guessed it. And then I'll type it in really quickly here too because I've just been typing it so much. And if I'm unsure about her trainer type, I can go into trainertypes.txt and find right here that she's Elite Four _ Agatha. Cool. So her first Pokemon could just be a friggin' Gengar, I don't know. And then her next team, she could have a, I don't know. What's another good ghost Pokemon? Misdreavus? When I was younger, I always thought it was Misdreavius, but it's actually Misdreavus. I don't know, man. Pokemon pronunciation is something that has always stumped me. Okay, so we've got Agatha right here, and then we've got Agatha right here. Let's take our Bruno event and copy him right on down. Bruno, you go right here. And then while we're here, what we can do is copy this door, scroll on down and paste it, and set this to be if E4 room is 3 or above. Because after we transfer from Bruno, this variable gets incremented again, and then it should be at 3. So it goes 1, 2, a 3, and then when we go to Lance, it'll be 4. So let's modify this to be Agatha real quick. By now, you should have a good understanding of what's going on here. It should be pretty obvious. One thing I'm actually going to do is delete this event page because I found it faster to just copy them. So let's make this Agatha. When she's at 3 or above, she'll say that. And then when you talk to her, she'll say, I'm an Elite Four member, battle me. Let's take a look into our battle backgrounds again and see what would be a good battle background for Agatha. Battle backs, I'm gonna go and say D. That one looks spooky. That's like a purple spooky background. Let's make it that one. Elite D, there we go. And then instead of Elite Four Bruno, this will be Elite Four Agatha. Hopefully this is all pretty clear and obvious what's going on here by now. Like, it shouldn't be too confusing. Hopefully you see this and you go, oh, okay, I understand what's going on here. This is pretty easy. So you move on to the next battle. E4 beaten is incremented. And then we'll just copy and paste this again. So that way the switch Elite Four. Cool. And then we can go to the end here and change this to 1. So when you rematch her, she'll be in her second form. Cool. And then we just need to do the door. It's going to be that easy. Making the Elite Four, once you've got the basic setup, is actually pretty simple. If you wanted to, you could make an Elite Four with even more trainers, where you have like 6 rooms. That'd be kind of painful, but you could do it if you wanted. All right, so if this value is 3 or above, then it's open. And then instead, it will transfer us over here to Lance's room. If we wanted to, I think I'm going to do that actually. We can make a much more intense transfer for Lance. Because by default in the actual, well, not by default, but in the original Pokemon games, you have this like long corridor that you walk through when you go to Lance. So we can map that out really quick. Anyway, before I do that, I want to just showcase this event working. Check this out. We're going to go in and play through some of our Elite Four really quickly and kind of show it working in a sequence. So let's go in. We walk in, and now all of our variables are set to 0, and then E4 room is set to 1. We can't go back. Bada boom. We go and we fight Lorelei. And just to showcase it working properly, I'm not going to skip the battle here. I'm going to skip the battle after. So look, there's our proper battle background. There's her Pokemon. So she only has 1 Pokemon. This means that she is in her first form. So we're not on Rematch yet. Treat this as a win? Sure. If we wanted to, we could go into Debug and go into Field Options Switches and scroll down, and we could make it so that way Defeated Elite Four is on, just for our own testing. We might do that later. Essentially, that would make it so that way we would be fighting the second form of our Elite Four trainers. So we transfer, we walk up, the door closes. So now, E4 beaten is 1, and E4 room is 2. So after we fight Bruno, E4 beaten should be 2. Let's fight him. Bruno's kind of a big dum-dum. I kind of don't like his team. Look at that. He's got his red background and everything. It looks nice. He's in Form 1. He's got his Onyx. There it is. But yeah, Bruno as a trainer has always stumped me because when I was a kid, I was like, oh, is he a rock type? But it turns out he was fighting type all along. He just happens to have a lot of rocks. You can move on to the next battle. Okay. So now, E4 room is 3, and E4 beaten is 2. After we beat Agatha, E4 beaten will be 3. Okay, Agatha, let's fight. I bet you have a Gengar. I bet that's what you got. I'm not afraid. And look at that, it's got our spooky battle background for D now. Hey, and she's got her Gengar. Very nice. Very nice indeed. I'm gonna use Control Run again to treat this as a win, and skip it. There we go. You can move on to the next battle. Thank you so much. So, what I'm gonna do actually is save right here, because our next transfer is gonna be kind of crazy. So, this will be us moving on to Lance, but we gotta go make it first. We haven't done that yet. So, let's do that. What I've got here is the tile set used for this map. And if you're unsure about what I did already, I should have mentioned this earlier, but I made this map huge. It is 50 by 70, and it's using the gyms tile set. And I really just mapped out all the stuff. I made a really crappy looking championship room. It doesn't look good at all, but you know, it's just for the sake of showing this off. But what we've got here in the gyms tile set is towards the bottom, there's a whole bunch of different rooms here that you can make with all these little tiles. And if you are so inclined, you can make a kind of cool one here for Lance. You can do all these different like Pokeball setups. So you can just start mapping it out. I'm a huge fan of mapping. I really like just the whole like right click, left click style of it. It's always been a fun thing that I enjoyed. I've had some people tell me that they hate mapping, and I think to myself, what? How do you? It's fun. Look, you can just shape the world. I have the power. I have the power. And look at that. It's gonna be that easy. Then we can go to layer 2, paste one of those, and then just paste them again, actually. And then these are kind of supporting of doing this strategy, where now you can kind of like do a little like double hook there. Boom! And just like that, we've already got ourselves a nice little dragon room. However, let's get a little bit fancy. When you go to Lance, there's kind of more of a walk, isn't there, right? You kind of do one of these, and you kind of do like, what, like one of those? Oh shoot. You kind of do like, what was it, like one of these? Was it like that? I remember it being like a weird, like a long hallway that you walk down. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Whatever. It ain't perfect, but it'll get the gosh dang job done. And then let's just do one of these, where we can copy this, paste some of those like so, and then do some of this, where you can kind of like copy one of these and paste that like so, and then maybe paste one of these like so. I don't know. You know. There we go. Something like that. Or, I don't know. It's just gonna be a long little walk where after you go through. So, let's plot this out. And while we're here, let's add our door that closes. And this will be if the room is 4 or above. So, you'll go here, and then you'll go up 1. So let's add that. We're gonna do some move routing here. I love doing this. This is something that I hardly ever get to do, and it's very interesting. So let's see, we go up 1 and then left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lefts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll go 6 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we should be right here, correct? Wait, we went up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Then we'll be here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 lefts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 1 up. And then from there, from this tile, it should just be 3. 1, 2, 3. And then after that, we have a wait for move completion. I love wait for move completion because it just waits until your move route is done, rather than having to actually set any timing for anything. And then after that, E4 room will increment, and then we'll be able to battle Lance. So let's show off this janky move route. Let's show off it in its entire jankiness. So we've just defeated Agatha. E4 beaten is equal to 3. We've defeated 3 members. E4 room is equal to 3 because we're in the 3rd room. Now let's move on to the 4th room. Whoa, I set the move route. The transfer was on the wrong location. See, that was a little stupid of me. What we need to do is, instead of moving to this tile, we need to move to this tile to accommodate our move route. There we go. I knew I was forgetting something. I was like, this is too easy. This is going by way too smoothly. There must be something I'm forgetting. Lo and behold, it was something very obvious. But anyway, here's our move route now. We've just defeated Agatha, and now we're walking to Lance. We walk up, and then boom, the door closes behind us. And then Lance will be in here, and we'll fight him. So, let's make that now. Let's copy over our Agatha event, paste it, go into our graphics, and make it equal to Lance. And let's go to that second page and delete it really quickly. Cool. Now what we need to do is define our Lance. Let's go back into our trainers.txt, copy all of our Agatha things, paste them right on down here, and then this will be Elite Four Lance, named, you guessed it, Lance. And what Pokemon are they going to have? How about he has a Dragonite? And then, how about his next one? He has like an Aerodactyl and then a Dragonite? Oh wait, I did an all caps there. That needs to be a lowercase Lance right here. Because, once again, consulting the trainer types, Elite Four Lance is lower. There we go. So Elite Four Lance, Form 1, or Form 0 if you will, has just one Pokemon, and it's a Dragonite. Then his second form has two Pokemon, and he will have an Aerodactyl, and then a Dragonite. Easy. Very nice. So, let's take a look at our Lance again, and make it so we battle him. So, his battle back, I think, is just going to be A. Yeah, that looks fine. Let's make it so that way he has Elite A. Perfect, because the name, be it Battle BG, Elite A, Elite B. And then for our champion battle, we're going to do champion, but we're not there yet. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Anywho, let's scroll on over here and delete this mention of Agatha, and instead make that Lance. And then go in and delete this, and make this Lance. There we go. So, after you beat him, E4 beaten will increment once again, and then we can move forward to our champion battle. And then we can just copy and paste this, make it so that way this is if the switch defeated Elite Four is on. And I'm just going to double check Agatha to make sure I did that as well for her. Cool, I did. So this is our default battle. If we've beaten the Elite once before, then instead it'll call our second battle, which we've defined. Cool. And then on our third interaction, we still need to make this Lance, and if E4 beaten is 4 or above, he'll say, oh, you beat me. Just move on to the next battle already. You made me look like a fool. You destroyed my hopes and dreams. And you're darn right I did, Lance. Because you destroyed my hopes and dreams many a time when I was a child. But then I learned about ice moves. And then the world was never the same place again. Alright, so, currently, just to showcase it, because I keep on saying it without showing it, I think I actually want to show it this time. Let's go into our variables. E4 beaten is 3, because we've defeated 3 Elite Four members. E4 room is 3, because we're currently in the 3rd room. Now, let's move on to the 4th room. After we complete our move into the 4th room, the variable will increment, and E4 room will be equal to 4, and then the door will close behind us. So, let's once again use our debug magic to take a look at this. I love using debug tools, it's so good. So yeah, E4 beaten is 3, E4 room is 4. Now, if we battle Lance... I'm an Elite Four member, battle me! Oh no, oh Lance. He's got his battle background and everything. Battle A, he's got his Dragonite. Oh man, it's a very scary little dragon. Or I guess he's a big dragon. I am just gonna debug complete it though, because screw you, Lance. A good battle indeed. Yes, 'twas. Well done. You can move on to the next battle. And then, we didn't set up the door there, but that's not to say that we can't learn from this. Let's go and look at our options again, and look at our variables. And now, E4 beaten is 4, so we've defeated 4 Elite Four members. Cool. So let's copy our door over. And now, if E4 beaten is 4 or above, now what we gotta do is kind of edit this janky move route. This is a huge move route. I'm gonna click here and just spam the delete key on my keyboard just to delete all of these. There we go. Now we've got ourselves as a normal looking move route once again. So, we don't really need E4 room anymore, and we don't really need this door enter anymore, because now this is going into the championship room. So, what we could do is just delete these. Boop, boop. There we go. So this will be our transfer into the room of the champion. Let's go over here scroll on down Arena, and what you can see here is I've made a little champion bridge thing. There it is. Cool. So now we will transfer up to the champion. And then from here, what we could do is the same thing we've been doing previously with the multiple like trainer things, but instead make it part of a cutscene. I've already made a couple videos on cutscenes, but just to make it really clear, once again, I will do another cutscene. However, first, what I'm going to want to do is kind of just like copy the logic of Lance, because ultimately, we're not going to be talking to Blue to battle him. Most of the time when you go into the championship room, instead you kind of cross a threshold and then you walk up and talk to them from a distance. So let's make this right here be a thing. So here's our Lance, and instead we'll make it say, I'm the champion. I'm the champion. I'm the best. And then the battle background will be champion. So you might be confused right now as to why there's currently a Lance standing in our path. Well, here's why. Because instead what I'm going to do is remove the graphic, because it's going to be a cutscene, and make this an event that plays on player touch. And then at the very start, what we're going to do is a set move route for our player. So the player will move up, and then we'll do a wait for move completion. And then for added dramatic effect, we're going to do another wait of like 20 frames. In fact, like, we could just get rid of that wait for move completion there and just make this like 30 frames, so it's like all dramatic. You walk up to him and then he's like, oh, you stare him in the eyes, and then you friggin' fight. Cool. And now, since this is once again part of a cutscene, what we should do is find a different way to set our movement here. So instead he'll say, you can register in the Hall of Fame. So this is after you beat him. He'll say you can register in the Hall of Fame, and then what you should do is like move up and around and go through this door. But you know, we'll set that in a little bit. First, what we should do is, because once again I'm getting ahead of myself, I have a bad problem of doing this. We need to actually define our champion. So all of the logic is being held in this current event. So what we're gonna do is go and take a look at our trainer types once again, and find right here there's champion. I believe champion is already existing, or he's already exists. Yes, here he is. So here is champion Blue, and instead let's just make it so he only has one Pokemon, and it's a Venusaur at level 63. Holy crap. That is going to destroy my Gyarados that I've been using. My poor Gyarados is going to get absolutely booty blasted. Anyway, so he can have 2 Pokemon in this battle, and let's give him a friggin' Snorlax. I don't know. I like Snorlax. It'll be a level 20. There we go. So here's our Form 0 for the champion, and here's our Form 2 for the champion. Cool. So, since this is based off of our previous logic of the Elite Four trainers, we're going to go and delete this event page. And hell, we could even delete this event page. This is something that's really only going to play twice, where you either win or you lose. So, what we need to do is set this up so that way it's our battle against Champion Blue. And then really just copy and paste it, just like we've been doing with all of our other events. So this is against Champion Blue. There we go. And then, instead of copying and pasting it right now, what I'm going to want to do is put in some of our logic for the Hall of Fame stuff. So, one thing that's very cool about the Hall of Fame is everything is handled in this event that is an auto run. This event automatically runs when you get transferred into this map, which is the Hall of Fame map. And then it handles all of this stuff for us. It tells us that we've defeated the Elite Four. It keeps track of the number of times we've defeated the Elite Four. It does a Mew thing, which I don't even know what that's about. It does a move route and everything. It calls Hall of Fame. It calls credits. It heals us. It transfers us. It's great. So essentially, once we're transferred into this map, all the rest of the work is taken care of for us. So let's go back into our Pokemon League. And you fight Blue. You defeat him. And then we can do a set move route here, where our player is currently standing on this tile. So he'll move left 2. Actually, no, let's make him move left 1, so he kind of walks right by Blue. So he's standing here. He goes left, up, 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 I believe that there's collision on that. Maybe I can't walk past that. I might not be able to walk onto that tile, actually. I'm going to remodel this area very quickly. But anyway, so he's here. Wait, yeah, 1, 2. I'll make him, yeah, move left. Up, up, up. 3 ups. 1, 2, 3. And then a right. And then an up. So we should be here. And then you'll move up 1 more. And then, hell, we could even have him move up 1 more time. And then just to make sure that this move command works, we could do through on. And then through off. There we go. And then what we want to do is do a wait for move completion. And then even more, check this out now. This is going to be crazy. We're just going to call a transfer player. And we're going to transfer him into the Hall of Fame, standing right here, facing up. Boom. So after we defeat our champion, everything should look great. Let's test this right now, just to make sure it works, because it should work. But I just want to showcase it. I feel like I haven't launched the game in a little bit, so let's take a look. What we've got here is Agatha. Cool. Let's go battle Lance. Lance is a jerk. So we're going to destroy him really quickly. I'm just going to hold control when I talk to him, so that way we just skip the battle outright. A good battle indeed. Well done. You can move on to the next battle. So now it sets Elite Four beaten to 4. The door opens, and now this transfers us to in front of our champion. Wow. Let's go step on our tile. Dink. There we go. So now we locked eyes. And now it moves us up here, and he says, I'm the champion. And then we fight our champion. Oh no. It's Blue with his champion background. He's all scary and stuff. Oh gosh. That's a scary little trainer. I'm very afraid of his level 63 Venusaur. I'm gonna hold control and run away from it so I can just debug win. A good battle indeed. Great battle. Well done. You can register in the Hall of Fame, and now it'll execute our move route. And then it'll transfer us. And now the Autorun will play. And now we're registering our Pokemon in the Hall of Fame. So, our Elite Four setup is basically done. What we still need to do is set up Blue's Rematch. But for the most part, everything here has been working perfectly. This has been making an Elite Four very quick. And then after that, it'll just be all of our other stuff. Everything here is, for the most part, very easy to take care of. But I'm still going to want to dive into them and show you. But there's our Hall of Fame. Wow. Look how great it is. League champion. We're going to have to watch this one more time, unfortunately. This takes a while. But now it's going to play our credits. Yay. Cool. So let's set up our rematch for Blue real quick, which is actually going to be very simple. We actually don't even need this event page. Let's just copy this one and paste it. And then if the switch... Actually, no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong event. It's this event. Copy and paste this event. And let's make it so that we screw it. If the switch defeated Elite Four is on, then instead you fight him at Form 1. There we go. And it does basically just about everything else the same. Bada boom, bada bing, bada beam, easy. Cool. So, after that, we were transferred into our Hall of Fame, where a whole bunch of stuff just happened. And we're going to look into those right now. So PB Hall of Fame entry is a script command that calls that Hall of Fame entry screen. I'm not going to really cover too much of the specifics in this particular tutorial, but as you saw, it handles everything. It shows all the Pokemon in your party, and it says, like, congratulations, and it keeps track of all that stuff. What I'm going to talk about is the credits instead, actually. The credits is the immediate next script command that gets called, and it opens up our credits scene. And then after that, it recovers your party, gives them all the ribbons, and transfers you. Let's make it so that way after we beat the Elite Four, it transfers us to our house. We can go into our room right here. Yeah, easy peasy. Okay, so the credits. Let's break down how the credits work, shall we? I am going to show you where it is. So, in our scripts, we can scroll down a bit here and see on the left, there's scene_credits. At the very top of this script, you can see that there's a couple of things. There's the credits background list, the credits music, the credits scroll speed, the frequency, outline, shadow, fill. You can mess with these to your heart's content. We can make it so that way our credits scroll faster, we could make it so that way they have less time for like number of seconds per credit slide. Oh, the frequency is changing the backgrounds essentially. So keep below 5 for legibility. Yeah, I'll set it to just 4 for now because I don't want it to be flying by too fast, like an onslaught on our eyes. So credits background list pulls from our titles folder. So in graphics, titles, there's credits 1, credits 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just really quickly make our own one and then use that as our background just to show that it's there and it's working. So what we've got here is credit 6, and what I'm going to draw is I'm going to draw a big smiley face in the sky. Yeah, I'll just do one of these. He's got a little thing. And then, you know, I'm going to draw my little Thundaga logo because it's something that I like never draw anywhere. Yeah, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Now he's mad. Yes, yes. Okay, so here's credit 6. It's terrible, but what we can do is delete all of these except for credit 6. This is an array of images, so if we wanted to add more, so let's say hypothetically you wanted to add more of your own, what you would do is comma, quotes, and then the name of your folder, or the name of your file. But since we only want to use one, what we could do is really just call credit 6 and have that be our only background. And then with the music, this is from the BGM folder in your audio. Instead of the default credits music, let's play, what should I play? How about, I could play Lab. That probably sounds like crap though. How does this sound? Lab. That's the one that goes like da 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 da. Is that the one? Is it just not gonna open? Hello? Oh, great. Of course, VLC is having a problem. Oh no, it doesn't want to run. Oh gosh. Okay. Fine, screw you then. I'll play Cinnabar, and you can't stop me. You can't stop me from playing Cinnabar as my credits music. VLC, nice try. Anywho, so what we can do now is scroll down, and what you have here is the actual credits that display. So these are all of the default ones that come with Pokemon Essentials, and I highly recommend you do not modify these. These are the people who worked on making this amazing game engine, and you better goddamn credit them in your game. If you delete these, then I'm gonna punch you. I swear, I'm gonna do it. Anyway, up here at the very top, what I've done is just made my own little thing. So you could just type in your own stuff here. You could be like, hey, my name is Mega Game Kid 69, and I made my game called Pokemon Super Blue. Do not steal, it's my own intellectual property. Influenced by Minecraft. You know what I mean? Like, you could just type anything you want in here. If you use tools or resources from another content creator, then you should absolutely credit them, and here's where you do it. So for example, I believe if you download and install Elite Battle System, it already by default plugs those in, but here you would want to credit Luca SJ, who created amazing tools. If you use tools created by somebody else, or if you even have art in your game that's created by somebody else, you should put them in your credits. So like for example, Michael is a great dude who made art for Pokemon Summit Trials, so I believe I credited him in there. I better have. If I didn't, I'm gonna go back in time and punch myself via time machine. So yeah, here's where you type in all of your stuff. So, all jokes aside, I'm just gonna type in Thundaga, a tutorial. You get the idea. There we go. Cool. So this will be what our credits look like when we run them. It will have a different background, it'll have different music, it'll have a different scroll speed. Frequency doesn't really matter right now because we're only using one background. We could adjust outline and shadow and fill of our text if we want to. So like fill, we could change the color so that way instead it's like, what's that, RGB? So what we could do is make it so that way it's like primarily green. So we could have green text for our credit scrolling. It has an outline right now that's also like primarily blue, I believe. So what we could do is just make that like a white outline. And then this last value is its opacity, so 255. Anyway, let's go and run this once again, because credits is actually a pretty easy thing to set up. So let's go into our game. I guess we gotta defeat Lance once again, and then we've gotta even defeat Blue once again. I guess while I'm here, I'll show off the rematch feature. Check this out. So let's say we've defeated the Elite Four. That switch gets set to true after, like, we access the credits. So let's go to field options, let's go to switches, and let's set defeated Elite Four to on. Now, when we battle Lance, he'll have 2 Pokemon, with his first Pokemon being an Aerodactyl. Check this out. Wait a second. He only has 1 Pokemon. Are you kidding me? Did I set the wrong variable there? I better not have. Alright, I think I figured it out. For some reason, Pokemon Essentials was being kind of stupid when setting that switch without transferring map. So essentially, it was basically a debug issue, but he's in his second form now. What was happening was I was setting the switch via debug and then immediately interacting with him, and for some reason it wouldn't take, but I transferred map and then transferred back, and now it does take. So there's our second form of Lance. We've defeated him. The rematch is working properly, I swear. It works with all of the other trainers as well. And then we can move on to our champion. Here is Blue, and now when we fight him, he should have 2 Pokemon, because the value of Elite Four defeated is set to 2 as well. Or not set to 2, is set to on as well. Goodness gracious. I'm stuttering and stumbling over everything I say now. Trust me though, this is gonna work. There's Blue. Let's fight him. I'm gonna step on this tile. Ding. And then we look at each other and he says, "Hey, I'm the champion." And then we just fight. Cool. So now what we're going to be doing here is fighting Blue in his second form, where he has 2 Pokemon, with the first one being a Snorlax. I am not afraid of this little guy, though. And actually, no, he's like the epitome of not little guy. That's a big, chubby guy. I'm going to debug defeat him like I debug defeated everybody else. Good battle indeed. Well done. You can register in the Hall of Fame. And then we go and we register. And then all of our events will play. So, like what happened earlier, the Hall of Fame event plays, and then after that, our credits will play. It should use the defined background that we set, as well as the defined defined background music and defined image. And then it'll have all of our text as well. And then after that, it'll transfer us to our house. One thing that is important to note, this music's really loud, so one thing that's important to note is that the credits are unskippable the first time you watch them. All of the other times you watch them, they are skippable, but the first time you watch the credits, they are not skippable. So, it's playing our song, and it's at our scroll speed, and it's at our speed. You get the idea. Look at that. Look at all these people. And there's our lovely background image, and there's our music, and then after our credits plays, it transfers us back into our house. There it is. It's working perfectly, as intended. So, if we decide to go and rematch our Elite Four now, just to showcase it, I'm going to instead warp to the Pokemon League Center, right here. When we go to fight them once again, it'll set those variables back to 0, and we'll fight the rematch forms. And then everything will be great. Our Elite Four is working perfectly. We got it all working, and it was pretty quickly. I mean, pretty quick. Over the course of like a half hour or less, we've created an entire Elite Four. Her battle background isn't set up properly though, but she's got her 2 Pokemon. I believe the reason that her battle background wasn't set up properly is we didn't set that in the second event, which we need to. Yeah. So instead, we need to copy this Elite B and paste it here as well. So Bruno has Elite C there, and he has Elite C there too. Okay, cool. Anyway, that's about it really. Our Elite Four is now working perfectly. If we wanted to, we could spruce up the maps. And of course, if we wanted to, at any moment, we could change our teams of our Elite Four members to make them stronger or weaker. Realistically, instead, they would have like 5 level 50s or 5 level 60s or whatever. And then the next time you fight them, they could have like 6 level 70s or something crazy. But yeah, that's all at your, that's all for you to decide, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, hopefully this episode helps you now. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Discord. Please be sure to follow me on Twitch and Instagram as well. Join the Thundaga Discord. And yeah, I hope this episode helped you out. If you saw this and you have any good ideas about how you could implement your own Elite Four, then more power to you. I personally am not the biggest fan of Elite Fours in my Pokemon games, but they also are very, like, classic. They're kind of a staple, they're kind of tradition, and I felt like I had to make this episode. Besides, you know, talking about the credits is kind of important for your game as well, so if nothing else, I hope you learned more about the credits, and you modify those to be proper for your own game. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.